Hi there, welcome back. So I'm always sharing new brain-based research with you, but today I thought I'd share some research that's just a little bit lighter. So I want to tell you about a year-long international research project conducted by this guy. And this is Richard Weissman, and he is the professor of the Public Understanding of Psychology at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. He's written several best-selling psychology books, and he's a fellow of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry. His research has been extensively published and featured in documentaries and over 150 television shows. But back in 2001, Weissman and the British Association for the Advancement of Science embarked on one of the world's largest and most unusual scientific experiments. And the goal was to find the funniest joke in the world and answer some important questions about the psychology of humor. Over 1 million people participated in the study, and he did find the world's funniest joke. First, let's talk about why jokes work. Well, they work because they surprise the brain. See, the joke sets us up to expect one thing, and the brain is automatically predicting the punchline. But when it's different from our prediction, it surprises the brain. And now we have the technology to see what's actually happening in the brain when we do something. And when we've watched people, when they're listening to a joke, we know that the hippocampus lights up like a Christmas tree. Here's how it works. The hippocampus is largely responsible for memory and learning, but it's also the part of the brain that processes humor by that automatic prediction process and then comparing what we expect with what we get. It also works when a familiar phrase is slightly altered. We predict that phrase to be one way, but when we get something different, the hippocampus springs into action and says, pay attention. In the emerging field of neuromarketing, brands are beginning to apply this science with a fairly new technique called hippocampal headlines to grab our attention. For example, check out this print ad for Patron. Patron gets our attention by changing up the familiar phrase, practice makes perfect. But two things make this campaign marketing genius. First, they've swapped the word perfect for the brand, which creates an immediate association between the two in the brain. We instinctively associate Patron with perfection. Second, when the word change occurs at the end of the headline, it stands out even more. See, the brain really likes patterns and logical sequences, and it automatically predicts word by word what's going to come next. When there's a mismatch between that prediction and what it's actually processing at the end of the phrase, the hippocampus is much more alert. We know that the brain likes novelty because it also releases dopamine. Remember, dopamine is that good pleasure and reward chemical. But more recent research has shown that it's also released when we experience something novel. In addition, recent studies show that when the brain is surprised by something it doesn't expect, the plasticity of the hippocampus is increased. In other words, we have a greater ability to create new connections between neurons in the part of the brain that's responsible for memory and learning. That's pretty cool. So the next time you want to grab someone's attention or create a memorable event with a customer, a coworker, a friend, or a family member, put a little neuroscience behind it and add a surprise, something novel, something unexpected. Be unpredictable and take a little pleasure in knowing that you'll both get a little dopamine rush. Okay, so I bet you really want to hear the scientifically proven funniest joke in the world, right? Okay, here it is. Two hunters are out in the woods when one of them suddenly collapses, and after a few minutes, he stops moving, and then he stops breathing, and his eyes are glazed over. The other guy whips out his cell phone and calls 911, and he gasps, "I think my friend is dead. What should I do?" The 911 operator says, "First, calm down. Are you sure he's dead?" There's this silence, and then the operator hears a shot, and then the guy gets back on the phone and says, "Okay, now what?" Laugh? Want to learn more about how the brain works and how you can make it work better for you? Check out my book, Happy Hour with Einstein. And remember, life is always better when you share the good stuff.